Hey guys, before we get into this episode, I just want to let you know we had some issue with Riley's audio midway through the show. His computer had crashed, and when he tried to recover what he thought he had, we actually lost about a half an hour worth of his audio. So I tried to piece it together the show as best as possible to make it sound coherent. Harley is over here trying to make noise to be a part of the episode. But I tried to piece together the episode as best as I could to make the conversation make sense. But if there's some conversations that seem a little janky, that's why. Riley does come back towards the end of the show, and all the audio is fine. But I just want to give you a heads up. If you listen to it and something sounds a little off, that's why. We lost a part of his audio, and I tried to recover as best as possible. Otherwise, enjoy the show. Talk to you guys later.
You are listening to Trophy Horse with your hosts, Tricky Mick, Alex, I Yield to No One,
Steve,
and Sid.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Trophy Horrors. And by the sound of my voice, you probably know that Tricky couldn't bother to show up for recording because he would rather work, I guess. I don't know, but when you play PlayStation at work, I guess that makes your whole work experience very different. Joining me for these escapades, this charade that we put on here every week, is I Yield to No One.
What's up?
Yield, you're a fan of 1990s cartoons, right?
Absolutely.
You know, I've had a song running through my head all day, and I wonder if you would indulge me and let me, sing a little bit, because I just kind of want to get it out there, all right?
All right, go.
To prove their mousy worth, they'll overthrow the earth. They're pinky, and the brain. Oh, hey, Riley.
Hey! What's up, fellas? What are we doing tonight?
How does it feel to know that you inspired me to sing Pinky and the Brain to God knows how many people?
That's awesome. I love it.
Best, I'm going to say it now. The best part about Animaniacs was Pinky and the Brain. Yakko, Wacko, and Dot were great, but Pinky and the Brain was that was a show stealer right there.
Yes.
Now, hold on. Question. If Riley is the brain, then is Yield Pinky or am I Pinky? I mean, I feel like I've got more of the Pinky personality, but Yield is taller, which Pinky was taller, so I don't know which way we go there. Maybe Yield and I combined. Or
there you go. Scenario. There you go.
All right. Well, Tricky, of course, is at work. I think he's actually on this call, but he's silenced because he could record. His audio would be so terrible that no one would want to listen to it. So we're grateful that he's on silent. He's not going to mess with us in any way, and we're just going to have a good old show. Before we get into the usual business things, how's everybody's week been? We had Memorial Day last week, and assuming most other people besides me got some time off. And how was your all's week?
Well, I mean, I really don't want to have to go back to work next week, but it was a good week.
Wait, did you have the week off?
I had the week off. So, yeah. Did a little running, played a lot of video games. It was a good week.
Hey, you did a little running. You out there training for marathons, Yield?
Oh, hell no. I mean running as in I was in my vehicle driving around. That's my definition.
Oh, okay,
of
that
running.
kind of exercise.
That kind of exercise.
The driving around.
Yeah.
Running errands.
Yes. Chauffeuring.
Running to the local one of the local restaurants to get some burger and fries, that kind of exercise.
I did do that. No, the wife wanted to go to a quilting / cross-stitch store in Columbus. So that was kind of a day trip.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Okay. About how far away is Columbus, if you don't mind, we're not going to really dox you here.
Hour and a half.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah.
All right.
I thought you were farther for you. I'm closer. I'm about.
Well, yeah, you're
20 minutes away.
Yeah, you're 20 minutes closer. So
yeah.
You see, I don't have the talent. We've got friends who do cross stitching or knitting. I don't have the talent to do that. Plus, I'm scared that I would poke myself with needles, so I can't. Not a hobby I would pick up and do well with. But Riley, so you're the guest. How's your week been?
Oh, it's been pretty good. I didn't have the week off, unlike Yield, or I don't get to play video games at work like Tricky. But
Man, if I played video games at work, I'd be like, okay, I'm going back to work. All right.
yeah, no kidding. No, it was nice. The weather didn't get stupid hot until I no longer had to be at work, so that was nice. Haven't really I didn't go on any day trips. So it's been me and my dogs and my video games.
That's a fantastic combination right there. And I'll make you feel, I mean, you may have not have had a day trip there, Riley, but I guarantee your air conditioning didn't go out this week, which
Oh yeah.
came home Wednesday after graduation ceremony, and our air conditioning was not working. So
Ooh. At least it wasn't muggy.
oh, we're in the Ohio River Valley. It's always muggy here. But I mean, that outside, it was in the 80s and 90s, and the temperature upstairs in our house got up to like 85. It was just, I mean, we had a fan, which helped, but our poor dog was just panting like crazy inside the house. It's like, oh my gosh, can you please come fix this? So, luckily we did get it fixed, but 2 days without AC during the summer is miserable.
That sucks. Especially like this week, because I feel like it's been much warmer. There was a big spike this last week.
Yeah, and well, something rather crazy happened to me this week. So if you all will indulge me and let me tell a story, just from like you have like these moments in life where you like you're just going you don't have like the full story, and then like you find out later, holy shit, but that happened. It was Thursday was the graduation ceremony because I had that off, and that was when the AC went out. Wednesday I worked, and then as I normally do, I went over to the mall next to where I work to play some Pokemon Go. And I was over there for about 40 minutes or something like that, and then I left and went back to work and just bought some groceries, and then went across the street to a comic book shop to purchase a Ninja Turtles figure that I've been looking for a while, finish out my set. And the guy at the counter said, hey, be careful because they're just reported a shooting at Mall St. Matthews. I was like, what? I was just fucking there. And I get outside and I hear helicopters like circling the area. And then, I looked at the police were dispatched to the mall at 3:45. And I had a receipt from when I purchased my food after leaving the mall, going back to work and buying some groceries. My receipt said 4:15. So I was either there when it happened and didn't know it, or left right before it happened and got the hell out of there without even ever knowing. But yeah, it was fucking nuts. Wow. Because like I had no idea until the comic book guy told me, and then I looked it up, and yeah,
that's nuts.
I mean, it was a targeted thing. One person was injured, and I think there were two people involved. So it wasn't like someone was going in there like
Guns
some of the more terrible events. Yeah, they weren't in there spraying bullets, but just like to learn that after I was there, just casually playing a cell phone game. It's like, geez. So that makes you a little more grateful for things. The sunrise, the sunsets, and all that. So yeah, that was part of my week. But
you win.
That or.
It's not a competition.
And we can edit this out. Or Alex is just trying to tell the story so that he has an alibi, and he's actually like a super stealthy shooter. So he shot someone and then got the hell out of there. And it was like at the comic book store, and the comic book was like, oh, there was a shooting. Really? I didn't know that.
Didn't know.
Well, here's the thing. We don't own any guns. So never purchased a gun. So I think I'm safe there.
You're in the U.S. They just we store them in all the mailboxes.
They're given out for free. They're like they're like candy.
Like
It's like after you get a shot at the doctor when you're a kid and they give you a sucker. That's just what we do here in America.
Right.
Just more guns. So, but yeah, so we're past that. We got my AC fixed, and was playing some damn video games, and yeah. It's been a bit of a week, but I'm sure that along the way we have earned some damn trophies.
Oh yeah.
What do you say, Yield?
I've earned a few.
All right, we'll go over here our updated trophy counts for the week. Tricky is a level 855 with a total trophy count of 26,754. with a platinum count of 728. I am level 480 with a total trophy count of 8,790 and a platinum count of 146 in 145 games. If you're keeping track, I got another platinum this week.
Nice.
Yield, sir.
I am a newly minted 499 with a trophy count of 9606 and a platinum count of 174. I couldn't let Alex outdo me. I had 2 this week. Literally this week, not the past 2 weeks.
Oh, and Tricky Mick also got a platinum trophy. Was it Burnout Paradise Remastered that he got?
Yes, it was.
No. It's about time you got another platinum trophy, Tricky. How long has it been?
And a legit one at that.
Yeah, but he had some help. And he even... Okay, I guess we need to tell this on the show. Tricky, for years, has thought that he needed the wrong trophy to get the platinum trophy in that game.
Gosh! Yeah.
Why don't you share that since you had to go through it with
So,
him?
Tricky's like, I was setting this boosting session up for Nitro, and Tricky's like, ooh, I need the 8 players in Wildcat Stadium. I said, well, all right. Well, we got at least 5 of us. So we only need 3 randoms. You know, it may take us maybe, a couple of hours. Luckily, I don't think it quite took us that long. So we're sitting in Wildcat Stadium. We get 8 people to show up. Trophy pops for Nitro and Rick. And Tricky's like, well, I don't have mine. Well, I don't know why. Looks it up. Oh, I got it 3 years ago. So we did a couple other things. Well, let's jump into bikes, and we'll see if we can get the 8-player bike trophy. So we're sitting there trying, and we finally got 8 people in a room. And I take off. I had done the timed stunt, or my part of the timed stunt that I needed to do. So I take off out of the airfield, and I'm heading down the road, and Tricky's just sitting there. And I'm like, dude, come on. We have to get 10 miles. Everybody's got to get 10 miles while there's 8, or all 8 players have to get 10 miles before someone jets. I said, and everybody else is trying to accomplish the timed feat, so they'll rack up some miles. Just as the 8th person decides he's not waiting around anymore and jets, he's like, oh, I've already got that trophy. So the 2 trophies that he thought he needed, he never even needed. So, yeah.
But he apparently did need some trophies.
He did need some, but...
And he got that taken care of. All right, hopefully Tricky's happy there, and we made Tricky happy there for once. More importantly, though, let's get back to the real gamers. Sid is level 831 with a total trophy count of 23,029 and a platinum count of 716.
Damn.
Riley?
I am a trophy level of 420.
Teehee.
Insert jokes here.
Give me some gummy bears.
Yes. Let's see.
Smoke 'em
Total
if you
trophy
got
count
'em.
of 7,406 and a platinum count of 51.
Very nice. Very nice. And we will very smoothly segue because you can't earn platinums or trophies without playing games. What have we been playing? Riley, the brain, you are our guest, so we're going to let you go first.
Oh, sweetly.
Well, Tricky usually hates on the guest, so we got to be nice to him when he's not here.
Let's see, what have I been playing? I've been playing a lot of Burnout Paradise. Just helping Nitro and Yield and whoever finish out the last of the DLC trophies that we needed. I've been playing a lot of Power Wash Simulator, which I had it on PC, and then I decided to pick it up when it was on sale for the PlayStation, just because it's a fun, mindless, satisfying, just sit there. I like to say it's a great game to play when you want to play something, but you don't really want to play anything.
And when if you're doing Farm Simulator or all these simulator games, which we can't seem to get away from now, you feel accomplished. It's like, yeah, I'm doing some. It's like gardening in
Exactly.
Animal Crossing. It's like I'm planting flowers in Animal Crossing. Meanwhile, I won't do that in my own yard because that's too much work. But when I'm doing Animal Crossing, it's like, yeah, I got out there and did some good work today. I'm a green thumb.
Exactly. See, you get it.
Let's see. Other than that, the only thing I did go through the Saints Row DLC.
How was that?
That was released. It was fine. It was short. I do like the new wingsuit stuff, but yeah, I don't know if I even still have it on my system. Like I accomplished everything for the DLC, and then I think I promptly just deleted the game again until the next batch comes out. Um, it's fine. It's I mean, I love Saints Row, so it's like, yeah, it is what it is, but it's not one that I'm like, oh yeah, everybody needs to go out and get this, because it kind of misses the mark. And then I've been playing, I guess the main game that I'm like playing through right now is Star Wars Fallen Order. Fallen Order, yeah, because I've had it for a while, and it never got around to playing it, and so with the new one coming out, I thought, well, I'll play. So I'm several hours into that. I'm enjoying it, but I kind of feel like it's going to be one of those where I get just distracted and don't get around to going back and finishing it. It doesn't provide me with the drive to be like, oh, let's see what's next. And I can't quite put my finger on why, but it's just not super.
Are you planet hopping yet?
Addictive. Yes.
Well, you're out of the tutorial.
I cannot.
Man.
I cannot throw my lightsaber yet. I know that's later in the game. But
yeah, that is one of the powers.
I can't quite figure out where the disconnect is, because I do enjoy it when I'm playing it, but I'll just kind of putz around in it for a while and think, okay, and then I sit down and I'm like, yeah, it's nowhere near the let's play some more of that.
Have you gone to Kashyyyk yet?
It's available, but I don't think I haven't went to Kashyyyk yet.
I want to say that after that story mission, I think is where the story really opens up.
I will give that a shot the next time I'm playing it, because I know that is one of my available planets.
I remember that the tutorial felt like it took longer than I felt it should, and I also feel like I remember that the game took a while to open up, and when the story finally, because I was like, it's good. I'm enjoying myself, but kind of like you, it's something's missing. And then finally I got to that point, I don't know, it may have been the 10-hour mark or something, that I finally got to a point in the story where I was like, oh yeah, it is a good story. Now you do feel like you travel back and forth between the same planets, like, it seems like Force Unleashed, where it was kind of the same planets, but obviously the maps are a lot bigger.
And I think the other thing, and this is uniquely my own weird idiosyncrasy, is that I guess it would be the like the Metroidvania aspect of, you see this area, but you can't get there yet because clearly I need another force power or something else. But that's, to me, comes across as so jarring in an open world game where it's like so obvious. So like, oh look, there's these big blue panels that are obviously something, but you don't have the correct force power yet to use it. That's just, certain games I enjoy it, but like in larger like open world games, that are not Lego games, I find it really just, it's more of like a middle finger to me.
I'll go ahead and warn you now, if you're going to go for the platinum, I believe you got 100% every map. You got to find every nook and cranny of every map, all right? That map, while it's cool, because you got the holo map, it's really a Star Wars thing. When you're trying to find every aspect of the map and then try to get your way back out so you can get to your ship and go somewhere else, is the most annoying thing of the entire game.
There will definitely have to be something that clicks and kicks in to make me really like, oh my god, this is awesome, for me to want to do that, because I'm struggling to just navigate where I'm supposed to go.
That map system, like I said,
missions.
While I like the holo map aspect of it, oh my god, that map was the worst part of the game.
It's frustrating.
I want to agree with Riley for a second, because I understand that Super Metroid and also some of the Castlevania games, like, they are revered and beloved, and the whole Metroidvania thing, and hey, you can't get here now, but you progress a little later and you can get the power you need or the item you need to get past this. But I completely agree with Riley in that in open world games, or like massive games that we have these days, it's the most annoying. It's so annoying. It's like, so now I got to remember where this one specific spot is that I found to come back later to traverse this new area. Like
And you have no idea how soon you're going to get that power, so you almost have to like keep notes. Because I mean, it's still mildly annoying in Lego games, but I think they just kind of get a pass because that's what they've always done. But yeah, it's like, oh, you go through this. Let me go around here and explore. Oh, I've just spent 10 minutes working my way around this area, and now, oh, there's one of those blue panels or whatever that I don't have the thing for. Then it's like, well, shit, now I don't want to go exploring. It's like, I want to explore when it's new and fresh, not after I've put 30 hours into the game and and then come back.
Well, believe me, you'll be back.
I'll be back.
The story brings you back. So it's not one of those, oh, I'm never coming back here again, but if I want to get 100%, I have to come back. You'll be back.
Riley, anything else you've been playing this week?
That's really pretty much it, other than just the standard dabbling in some Rocket League to get my freebie challenges done.
Oh, let me ask you, the Power Wash Simulator, how's the Platinum Trophy on that? Because I know that I looked up the Farming Simulator one. It's like 100 hours, I think.
Yeah.
That's
I
a lot.
really don't think that it's that bad. I haven't actually went on to like a trophy guide or estimation thing to see,
Here, I'll look
but
up
it
while you're
looks
talking.
like most of it is simply
Just do it.
just do it. Now there are a couple things like on the playground, shoot the soccer ball up the slide, which that's going to be frustrating. I was trying around that, but I mean most of them are just like, if you look, it's like, oh well, when you do this house, then be sure you do the gutters last or the sidewalk first. Do the first one. There's one, it's like you clear off the van using only the smallest nozzle. Which is like, so most things are just like, do something in a certain order. They're not that bad. There are a couple like oddball things, but there's nothing that's like super, super grindy or it's just play through the game.
Anything, so like if you forgot to clean something first or last, you can go back into free play mode and do a job over and do it that way. So it's not like, oh crap, I missed it, I'm screwed. You can go back.
And one really nice thing about that also is that it doesn't affect, the free play is separate from the career mode. So if you're, like I went back and did the van thing. Well, I'm in the middle of like another project, and so I was like, oh well, I'll just do the van and free play, and knocked that one out. And it doesn't like reset any of your progress or anything. You don't. There's no cost to doing that, so that makes it nice.
According to PSN profiles, 40 hours.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, not as much as the Farming Simulator, although there's probably more to do in the Farming Simulator. But someone who has played actually Farming Simulator, Yield. Did you play any of that this week? On top of that, what else did you play?
I have, and I am actually at around 100 hours, and I'm to the point to where I think I was going to do the money glitch anyway to get the 10 million, but I'm trying to get enough money. Hey, man. I'm not below that or above that. I was trying to get enough money so I could buy a big field, because while you're doing jobs for someone else is part of a trophy. Working those fields doesn't count towards your Hector's trophy. So I was trying to earn enough money to buy a bigger field, so I could and buy the bigger equipment to do those fields quicker, and then sit there and knock out those trophies before I went to the 10 million. Well, I was looking at my hours, and I'm already at 100 hours, and I'm at $900,000. And like the 10-acre field that I would want to get would be like $850, I think. So I'm like, you know what? I've put plenty of hours in this game. Maybe I'll just do the 100-hour, do the money glitch to get the 10 million, and then I'll just buy what I want to buy and then finish the game out that way. I'm still debating on that. And I probably will do it. So I did play some Farming Simulator 19. I've played, was working on my 100% playthrough on the first tree. Need to get back to that. I got about a third of the way through it. I have played some Power Wash Simulator. I played some Sifu, some Deep Rock Galactic. I have my Scout ready for a 3 silver promotion. And the rest of them are all 2 stars silver. So I'm getting there. I've played some Rocket League. I've played some World of Warship Legends. Assassin's Creed 4. Burnout Paradise. I went back and got a couple trophies that I hadn't gotten and could. Burnout Paradise Remastered. I've played some... what was it? Just scroll down a little bit. Some Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry. That was Platinum number 1. I played some Kena, Bridge of Spirits. That was Platinum number 2. Yes, I did use the Master Glitch. And I fired up Borderlands 3. Friday night, I think it was. I think that's everything I've been playing in the last 2 weeks.
And when you, because I asked you how was match difficulty, or if you used the same method that Tricky and I did, and so many other people have done. You said that you used the glitch or the skip, and because you got to the end of the first playthrough and you're like, no, I'm not doing this. Like,
yeah.
what was the moment in that like was the hardest for you in Kena on your playthrough, and like did you realize, yeah, I don't want to play this on match difficulty?
Probably the second boss.
The corrupted woodsmith, which I believe that I said was the hardest part of that game.
The woodsmith, because once they get to the third stage, I mean, I was able to defeat her, but it was like, what exactly do I do? Because like sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't, and I couldn't figure out the consistent way of getting her to a point where you could damage her. So that was annoying. And then the final fight was annoying at first until I kind of figured out what I needed to do. And I was just like, yeah, the fact that you get hit and lose all your rot ability when you get hit, I was just like, I'm not that good to dodge and duck to do that. So no. And then just getting to the village on Master with the new enemy types that they threw at you was enough for me to go, yeah, I'm really glad I decided I wasn't going to try to just go through this.
Yeah,
so,
that Woodsmith boss broke me. That was at the point where I'm just like, you know what? I play games to have fun, and this is no longer fun.
So, but the thing that got me, so I was watching a video. So the original shortcut was to walk up some steps, and then you kind of jump around.
Jump up, and get down.
Yeah, you either do the dash, you do the dash, and then you kind of jump around the edge of the water and jump on the staircase, and then walk up to the mountain. Well, they've blocked that one now, so they have a new one. And the video showed you going up the same staircase, but you kind of jump across the broken bridge. For those of you who have played it, there's a broken bridge. And you kind of jump across at an angle to the left to land on a little rock. And then you jump up on the path and then run up the hill and then kind of spam jump behind a building. And then you get up over the wall and then you can up the mountain, back down, and then you're on the path to the mountain shrine. And I was sitting there, I watched the video and I'm like, oh, okay. So, and you're supposed to make before you start your new game plus, you make a manual save of after you beat the game. So you start right where all you got to do is meditate. And so I ran up there, I'm on my master difficulty, and I run up there and I'm like, why do I need to jump across? You have the bomb. I can just throw a bomb down there and recreate the bridge. So I don't know why they went to all that trouble to say you had to jump across that way when if you're making a manual save, you've got the ability to throw a bomb. But I thought that was weird. But other than that, yeah, I did the master cheat in super easy.
And I can't remember exactly when I got the Kena Platinum, but it was some time ago. So obviously, I can't remember the name of the studio.
Ember Labs.
Ember Labs. They clearly know it's out there, and they're not. I don't think they're doing anything about it. So like I told you, Yield, like just sometimes give those trophy hunters their W's, and just let them. If they want to do it, just let them do it. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so that's all you've been playing, sir?
Off the top of my head, I want to think there was something else, but I don't think so. I think I got it all covered this week.
And I will wrap us up before we get to the news. I got my Platinum Trophy in Gods Will Fall, which is a game that I talked about last week. I really enjoyed that game. Dungeon crawlers may not be for everybody, and it can get frustrating, but once you learn the combat and you get used to it, honestly, you're getting better weapons as you go along. Some of your party will learn new skills and stuff like that. It does become easier. The game does become easier, as to where even like the last two bosses, like there are some of the last few bosses that I fought gave me some serious resistance, but then the last two that I fought, which are the last two that are suggested in the guide for the trophy guide and roadmap, were pretty easy. So, even if there are struggles up front, if you persevere, you can get through it. I will tell you, it's one of those games. There are a lot of missable trophies. Each one of the bosses, you get a trophy for beating each one of the bosses. There's 10 of them. And then each god has a specific thing you have to do within their fight in order to get another trophy. So 20 trophies of the 44, I think, are just beating the boss and then doing the boss's requirements during the fight. So for instance, one of the bosses is the giant spider that Tricky was referring to last week, and you have to defeat the spider while it's on its back. You have to deal the killing blow while it's on its back, and you have to do a certain thing at a certain time in order to make that happen. So, but I definitely would say that this is a game that, try it out. It's on PlayStation Plus Extra, so if you've got Extra, it's no skin off your back. You just, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But I'm not someone who normally plays dungeon crawlers, and I will say that I did, thoroughly enjoy it. And but yeah, just because there's so many missable trophies, check out the trophy guide first. I hate to say that because I don't want to just be like, well, all right, let's spoil so much of the game by looking at the trophy guide, but I feel like trophies, they used to be give you little hints, back in the PS3 days, to where you could kind of figure things out. But now I feel like, they hide some of them. They make some of them so esoteric that, unless you want to go in blind and then take a chance on having to play through another playthrough on a 20-hour, 40-hour game, it's a lot of times just best to look at the trophy guide ahead of time.
It's almost like the devs now are just like they used to be like, all right, well, how do we do this? And they're like, the trophy hunters will figure it out. Somebody will put it in a guide. Yeah,
there's enough forums out there and message boards to where people will figure this out eventually. So yeah, got the platinum trophy in that, which is worth quite a few points in the rarity event. So my score should go up once Gareth's been on holiday, so he has not been putting out. He hasn't been doing the written update or the audio update, so he will hopefully be back next week with one of those, and I assume that I will have a nice chunk of points moving up. I mean, 2 weeks, or at least covering 3 weeks, then everyone should have a good amount of points, but I think I'll do really well, boxing Tricky outside the top 6.
If he's not putting out, that's really not much of a holiday.
Well, not for us. He's not putting out for us.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But the other game I played, I went back to Kao Kangaroo, which I played last year, got the Platinum Trophy, and they actually released DLC, Bend the Rules, and rules is spelled ROOLES,
nice.
Kangaroo, yeah. And I looked, and initially when this came out, for a few days there were 11 new trophies, not hard to get, but they were all ultra rare. It's like, okay, you never know with these things. With DLC, it's automatically attached to your trophy list when it comes out, when the update loads on your console. And so, people have to go back and actually have to spend, in this case, $8 for the DLC. So you always wonder, how rare the DLC trophies are going to be, because, people mostly have the platinum, and they have to decide, well, do I want to spend more money for a bunch of bronze trophies, or if I've already got the platinum, does it matter to me? So the trophies have actually gone up to very rare. So they're still under 10% on PSN profiles, but they have gone up from ultra rare to very rare. And given how easy they are to get, I don't necessarily think they'll stay there as well. They'll probably go to rare, or maybe, who knows, maybe uncommon. But essentially what the DLC is, for your $8, it gives you an extension of the story on, was it Hapaloo Island? I can't remember the exact name, and I saw the name the other day, so I should know it, but it gives you 4 new locations, or I should say 5. So there's 4 new levels to go through. You got to play, to get all the trophies, you got to play on easy and on hard, and to be honest, the hard's not much harder. There are a few extra obstacles in some of the levels where there's a time trial, you have less time to do it, but hard's not hard at all. All these trophies, like I said, are pretty easy to get. So there's 4 new levels to go into, and a final level, a 5th level, which is just at the end of boss fight to finish out the DLC. Kao Kangaroo is honestly like an unremarkable game, and I don't really mean that in like to be shitty about it, but there's just, it's a game that you have a lot of fun with while playing, but then like you kind of forget a lot of the things that happened once you stop playing it. And I love it so much because it harkens back to the days of like on the PlayStation with Crash Bandicoot and all these other, mascot platformers, these anthropomorphic animal platformers where, you're just this animal, and it's a simplistic platformer, but there's light combat. It's just a lot of fun. It's not super hard, and it just brings me back to days on stuff that I used to play on the PS1 and the PS2 or N64. But yeah, I highly enjoyed Kao Kangaroo. Not an entirely memorable game, but a great experience it's a fun ride while it's kind of like a roller coaster. Like, it's a very fun ride while you're on it, but then afterwards you kind of forget how you feel while you were on the roller coaster. I don't know if this makes any sense. I'm just off the top of my head. But yeah, it's if you want some easy trophies that may or may not be particularly rare, if you want to shell out the $8 and you already played Kao Kangaroo, and if you haven't even played Kao Kangaroo, it's worth playing. The Bend the Rules DLC won't take you very long. A day, 2 days maybe at most. But yeah, that's all I've been playing.
Awesome.
Yeah, did you ever go back and play Kao Kangaroo?
I haven't picked it up yet. It is on sale through the 8th, so it'll be a couple more days after you hear the show. I'm planning on picking it up.
Yeah, and we definitely I mean, you're not going to get much for rarity from the rarity competition from that game, but it is fun, so you will enjoy it. And we need more games like that. Like, it takes all kinds of games to make the video game industry float and succeed and thrive. Because it's like, you can't just have your military shooters, you can't just have your battle royales, you can't just have your story-driven God of War games, stuff like that. You can't just have your Bethesda games. You got to have the little indie titles, and some of the homages, the remakes, like the stuff like I said, like a game Kao Kangaroo came out so many years ago, and here we are again talking about it in 2022, 2023. You need those kind of games just for a nice mix to the video game industry. So I'm glad they brought it back. And I'm glad I got a chance to play because I had never played Kao the Kangaroo before. So yeah, my only advice. Well, no, I gave you advice for Gods Will Fall already, but yeah, no, I would recommend both those games to anybody. Like I said, Gods Will Fall. If you have extra, it's free with your subscription, and Kao Kangaroo at this point can't be that expensive, and you'll have fun with it.
What you were saying about games and not getting a lot of points for Kao Kangaroo, believe me. The games I've been playing lately haven't gotten me necessarily a lot of points. I didn't get any from Leisure Suit Larry, and I got very few from Kina. So
that don't matter to you.
No, that don't matter to me. I'm playing through my backlog. I'm playing games. I did get a decent amount of points this week because of what we were doing in Burnout and a couple of other things. But yeah. I'm just playing games to play games, and if I get some extra points, awesome.
That is one negative thing about the competition, and I definitely think that the backlog beatdown and Garrus Rarity competition, like they're great community builders, and they can be a lot of fun. But one aspect I do find is that being on PlayStation Plus and seeing some of the Tomb Raider games and stuff, and just seeing a whole bunch of games and having to consider sometimes like what to play based on the trophy rarity. I don't know. It does kind of keep me from playing some games I would want to play other games that, I do still want to try, but I'm pretty much just kind of going by, well, what's the rarity of this and what's the rarity of that? So that is one kind of negative of these competitions. But I mean, overall, like I said, they're great community builders, and they bring communities together. It's just you got to take the good with the bad, I guess, in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, Yield, congratulations on your 2 platinums.
Thank you.
I got my 1. Riley, are you going to go out for the Burnout Platinum, or do you already have it?
Oh, I have the Burnout Platinum. Yeah.
Way ahead of the game. And look,
well, so
wait, didn't they do that this weekend?
We tried. So here's what I'm thinking. There, Riley. Homer still needs it. So if he decides that, hey, I want to go for this, we could theoretically, if we could get a day where we could get everybody back together, that would be 6 of us. We only need 2 randoms. That, or we do like Rick suggested, we post something on PSN profiles and see if we can snag a couple, 2 or 3 other randoms who want to do it, and then we can do it that way.
Yeah, I could always make one of my kids play on the PS4 as well.
Is
an extra?
Is it cross-gen now?
Well, it's a PS4 game, so I'm playing the PS4 version on my PS5. So yeah,
I get it. So they could play on the 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then you know what? Push comes to shove.
There
We may
go.
just do that.
I should have thought of that this afternoon.
Here,
Oh, shoot.
you 2 are playing split screen.
Real quick, I do want to throw this out there, that if anyone has Overcooked, because I think you can play Overcooked online with friends, if anyone could help me get a couple trophies in that, I would be grateful. If anyone has Overcooked,
I have that.
Because Ashley, the kitchens once you get later in the game are too hard for me to do on my own, and then I had Ashley try and help me, and that definitely led to us arguing or a lot of frustration. So we've tried that. So if anyone can help me, I would appreciate that, because I've only missed 2 trophies, and more than anything, I just want to get that up to 100%, because I've gone over 88% completion on PSN profiles for my trophies, and I might be able to get to 89 this year. We'll see. 88 was my goal. 89 is possible, but that would definitely help, because I only have like 50-something% of the trophies right now. So
Yeah, I can download that as well. So I own it. So yeah, I'm down.
sorry, Ashley's on the bed. She's staring a hole through me because I just threw her under the bus for her ability to play Overcooked. But one thing that might be very helpful for all of you out there hunting for rare trophies in the annual rarity event is the PlayStation Plus monthly games. Now, we've heard JT talk about the bloat of these games because, so many people try them out, and not everyone wants to stick with the game to get the platinum. But we do this every month. It's the beginning of a new month, which means, free games for all the PlayStation Plus subscribers.
Woo-hoo.
So, the PlayStation Plus monthly games for June. This comes from the PlayStation blog and was written by Adam Michael, who's the Director of Content Acquisition and Operations at SIE. So your games this month are NBA 2K23, Jurassic World Evolution 2, and Trek to Yomi. Quote, today we're happy to reveal the PlayStation Plus games for June, and they will be available to PlayStation Plus members on Tuesday, June 6th until Monday, July 3rd. So that's the first Tuesday in every of the month, and then ending on the first Tuesday of the following month. NBA 2K23, it's a simulation basketball game. You probably can figure that out. Jurassic World Evolution 2 for PS4 and PS5. Avoid the mistakes of the past and build your own Jurassic World for dinosaurs and visitors alike in the sequel to Frontier's 2018 management simulation, Jurassic World Evolution. Experience exciting new features, 4 engaging game modes, and an expanded roster of awe-inspiring dinosaurs. Immerse yourself in a compelling and original Jurassic World narrative set after the earth-shattering events of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Working alongside iconic characters from the films, including Dr. Ian Malcolm, voiced by Jeff Goldblum, and Claire Dearing, voiced by Bryce Dallas Howard, and lead the efforts to control, conserve, and contain wild dinosaurs now rampaging across the United States. And then Trek to Yomi for the PS4 and PS5. Trek to Yomi is an ultra-stylized cinematic action adventure that follows an enthralling story of Hiroki during his fall against the forces of evil, experiences his heroic return to make good on his failed promise to save the people he swore to protect. As vow to his dying master, the young swordsman is sworn to protect his town and people he loves against all threat. Faced with tragedy and bound to duty, the lone samurai must voyage beyond life and death to confront himself and decide his path forward. So, those are the games for this month. Anything seem interesting to you all? I don't know, in a weird way, Jurassic World Evolution 2 kind of sounds a little bit, probably the most intriguing of the three to me.
I'm picking up 2 of the 3. I'm picking up Trek to Yomi, because I've been having my eye on that since they announced it. And I've always kind of thought about pulling the trigger on Jurassic World Evolution the few times that it's been on sale, but don't really do good with the Sims type game, but I'm like, but you get to build a park with dinosaurs, so
yeah, kind of create your own, not necessarily an amusement park, but create your own dinosaur park.
So that would be kind of cool. So now that we get the second game for free, I'll put it in my download, or I'll put it in my library, and eventually I'll mess around with it.
Which we recommend that you always put every game into your library just in case. You never know.
Right. Because there have been times I've tried to tell Yield this, but there have been times I'm like, oh yeah, we got that free for Plus. Oh, I never downloaded it, or I never put it in my library. It's like, well, damn it, we all want to play it now, so.
Well, I can tell you,
yeah,
I'm not going to play 2K23, NBA 2K23, because I really don't care about basketball unless it's double dribble.
Well, no, I will throw that in my collection just because if there's some point down the road where, I don't know, I need to have it. It doesn't cost me anything to have it in my library. But no, I'm interested also in the Jurassic World Evolution 2 because again, like Yield, I'm not like simulation. Well, I mean Power Washer Simulator, but like these those management sim games are not really my cup of tea. But I've watched some people on Twitch play the first one. A little bit, and it does look super interesting. So the fact that I can try it at no cost to me, yeah, I'm really interested. And I've also, like Yield, I've had my eye on Trek to Yomi since it was announced. So I'm super excited to get my hands on that as well.
All right. So overall, seems like it's
a good month.
Pretty good month, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, considering we're in the summer months, which typically, release-wise, you don't get much. It's nice that we're getting some good Plus games.
Yeah, and like we said, that one of my big concerns, going forward with PlayStation Plus after they revamped it and into the tiered system, adding the extra and the premium tiers, was that the free games for Essential would be crap. It'd be a barren wasteland because they were trying to push people towards the catalog on Extra, but they've actually done a pretty good job of keeping good games in the PlayStation Plus Essentials batches every month. So kudos to Sony for that. Although, real quick, they I think the is it the State of Play sale, or I can't remember what it's called now, but there's another sale going on, and PlayStation Plus memberships are discounted. But because I'm a PlayStation Plus premium member, I can't just re-up for Essential for another year. I have to buy premium, which is, correct, to be fair, $30 off. It's $90 to me instead of $120, which is only $20 more or $30 more than a normal subscription. So in the end, it may be worth it, but I am very irritated that I have no other option to re-up other than to go for premium, because that means if I just want to go back down to Essential, I have to wait till I expire and then re-up it, which is stupid, but Sony's going to do Sony, but
yeah, you got that right.
And to be fair, if that's the way you look at it, which is a fair way to look at it, you may not ever, go up, because you may be like, well, I guess I'll just keep Essential then, instead of having to be hooked to one or the hooked to premium or extra. But so Sony, they've made some good decisions, they made some bad decisions, but one of the things they've been known for in recent years is acquisitions. And we had another rumor surface last week of a Sony purchase, of Sony buying a studio, putting down fat cash. I guess had seen articles reported that Sony was setting aside $13 million for acquisitions, which, after all the studios they bought, another $13 mil. What's another $13 mil to Sony? The studio in question, rumored to be being bought by Sony, was CD Projekt Red, which, creator of The Witcher, of Cyberpunk 2077, also the owners of Good Old Games. But mere rumor that was actually shot down. We have an article here from Eric Van Allen at Destructoid.com. CD Projekt Red CEO says it's not for sale in response to Sony rumors. CD Projekt Red is shutting down any rumors of it being acquired. President and CEO Adam Kaczynski. I'm sorry, Adam.
I would go with that. Yes.
I'm sorry. That probably wasn't good, but I want you to know, Adam, that I put my full effort into that. Said in a recent investor Q&A that CD Projekt Red is not for sale. The question came up during the Q&A portion of CD Projekt Red's Q1 2023 results. Caller asked about recent rumors that Sony is interested in CD Projekt Red. For context, they seem to stem from a Destiny leaker, which is a screenshot and an accompanying thread alleging PlayStation plans on buying CD Projekt Red. Quote, nothing has changed on our end, Kaczynski said. I can repeat what we've been saying through the years. CD Projekt Red is not for sale. We want to remain independent. We have, I believe, an excellent strategy, except for Cyberpunk 2077. Those are my words. That's not from the article. For sure, it's not easy to execute, but it's a very exciting to follow our own path. It's a pure rumor. End quote. CD Projekt Red has several projects on its docket at the moment, ranging from a new Witcher trilogy to an expansion of Cyberpunk 2077, which it has confirmed will be at the upcoming Summer Games Fest in June. The company has encountered some turbulence, like recent layoffs and reevaluation of the project series at Molasses Flood. But from what Kaczynski has asserted, it sounds like the plan is to stay independent. So, rumors come and rumors go, but how much stock did you all put? And be honest, now that we know this was just BS, how much stock did you all put into this into the first place?
I just wait until Sony says something that they bought people, because it seems like any of your normal YouTube people that people flock to or Twitter people that people flock to when, they normally predict this right. They put this out, so this has to be true. I guess it's neat to talk about in the meantime until it happens, but I'm just like, oh, okay, until Sony comes out and goes, hey, we bought them, or said studio says, hey, we're now under Sony's umbrella. It's kind of wishful thinking, and I just kind of take it as just a grain of salt.
Riley, we've heard both Yield and my opinions on acquisitions, but how do you feel about all these studios purchasing other studios, and what do you think CD Projekt Red, like how much would if CD Projekt Red were ever to be purchased by Sony, how much, what that exactly would mean for Sony? Like how much they would gain from that?
Man, I think that would be massive for Sony. I think it would be the CD Projekt Red especially. It would be massive for Sony because CD Projekt Red is definitely in a valley right now, but I have every confidence that they've learned from their mistakes. And so going up, like their stock, their value is going to be. Now, will it ever be where it was before Cyberpunk, coming out of The Witcher 3? I don't know. But I think that would be a massive get for any company. If they can stay, if CD Projekt Red can stay totally independent, good for them. Because I think that's better for consumers to have that, to not be, although it's not as bad as it used to be, but to have all this things locked behind exclusivity and stuff. So I hope that they can, get back on the uptake, but then, even if they do, their stock is going to, eventually, if they do get purchased, they're going to go for a lot more than the 13 million that, that Sony had set aside. Allegedly. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of I'm kind of of two minds about it. I'm not a fan of the acquisitions because then it inevitably is not consumer friendly. It is, exclusive, and I understand why it happens, and I'm not condemning it. Okay, so if I want to play Starfield, now I have to purchase a 360, or not a 360. Wow, I have to purchase an Xbox. That might have not been that would not have been the situation had it not been for that acquisition. I understand it, and I understand it's a big influx, and then allows them to do bigger and more things. But I feel as consumers, we haven't really seen the 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 positive side of those acquisitions enough to outweigh the, oh well, now there's a big ass chunk of people that are going to have to wait to play, Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield or whatever. Um, and so, I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it. It's like I understand that it could ultimately be a very positive thing, but for right now, I feel that the cons outweigh the pros for that.
And just to make sure that we got the right dollar amount that Sony set aside, it was $13 billion. I may have said the wrong one initially, but Tricky wrote in the chat that he wanted to issue a correction. So it was $13 billion.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I can't remember what I said. It could have been me in the beginning. I got the number right, but not the where the decimal was.
Right. You were off by a letter. Either way, if this, and again, for any of the publishers, this would be the time to strike and to try to make a move on CD Projekt Red, because their value, their stock, they're in a funk. But if they can rebound to anywhere near what they were, even 13 billion is not going to be enough. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a major acquisition, because before the release of Cyberpunk, when we're still off the high, riding the high of The Witcher 3, that is always in the top of greatest games of all time discussions, and I'm okay with that, even though I've never really played it. It's just not really too much my thing. I get it, and I appreciate what it is and what it does. 13 billion wouldn't have touched see, a CD Projekt Red asking price. And so I think it's, in a way, I'm glad that they're saying, no, we're not for sale, even if it's just so that they can kind of right the ship some more and get that price, so that they're not selling at fire sale prices. Not that 13 billion is anything to sneeze at, but you know how these companies like to toss money around.
Well, yeah, and I think that 13 billion for one company would be maybe too much for Sony, because they spent 4 billion, I think, for Bungie. Was it 4 billion?
It was something ridiculous.
So I think that 13 billion for one studio, one company, might be a little bit much, but also you would get good old games with that. So who knows?
Oh, yeah, that's true. See, I always forget that they own good old games as well.
And obviously, but I mean, you talked about it, that if anything's going to rise their stock, it's going to be another Witcher trilogy, because that's their magnum opus right there, is the Witcher series, those games. So
yeah. And the only thing that makes me truly believe that they have a shot at getting that back is the way that they handled the absolute clusterfuck that was the Cyberpunk release, in the fact that they actually, because you don't see this, especially from I want to say non-Japanese companies, but from Western companies, that, hey, we screwed up, we realize we screwed up, we're really sorry, we're going to do our best to make it right.
Here's some free stuff.
Now,
Love
whether
us.
or not, right, and they're like, hey, we know that we messed up bad, and we're sorry, and we understand that we damaged a lot of the good faith that we had over the years. You just don't see that very much, which is why I am hopeful. I mean, unless they were just blowing smoke, which also is very possible, that that they have actually learned from this, that the people in the expensive suits have learned from this, and will be like, all right, let's get back to what made us number one.
Yeah. And well, one of the PlayStation franchises, I'm sure, is number one in the hearts of many people, is Ratchet and Clank. And we got God of War now, we got Horizon, we have Spider-Man is a big hit, including the new movie. Hair's very good. But really, Ratchet and Clank, back to the PS2 days, it's one of those tentpole franchises for Sony. It's a pillar of Sony's business, and Sony's announced that it's the latest game in the Ratchet and Clank series, Rift Apart, is coming to PC in its strategy to put as much as it possibly can on PC years after the release of these games. So it is. This article comes from the PlayStation blog. It's written by Julian Hubretz, And again, I wish Tricky was here to hear what excuses that he would have for not being able to pronounce these names instead of me having to try to pronounce them and embarrass myself in front of a worldwide audience. But Julian is the online community specialist for Nixie's software, so you would assume that Nixie's is helping with the port of Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart to the PC. Alright. Quote, "Hey everyone, the intergalactic adventurers Ratchet & Clank are making their debut on PC this summer. At Nixie's Software, we are all very excited to announce our next project in collaboration with Insomniac Games. Ratchet & Clank franchise recently celebrated its 20th anniversary. We are thrilled and honored to bring this iconic franchise to the new audience. If you haven't played a game from this series before, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is an excellent one to start with. The game is a visual spectacle and is perfectly suitable for newcomers thanks to standalone storyline and the introduction of 2 brand new characters, Rivet and Kit. We can't wait for you to meet these intergalactic heroes and start your multi-dimensional adventure when the game launches on July 26th. Today, I can share the first details on PC features for Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart that our team has been working on and tell you more about the pre-purchase bonuses. The PC version of Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart features ray tracing reflections with a variety of quality levels to choose from, and newly added ray traced shadows for natural light in outdoor areas. This enables realistic shadows with natural gradients. That's not part of this. We'll just go ahead and get pre-purchase bonuses. Pre-purchase bonus include early access to in-game items, Carbonox armor, pixelizer weapon, and you pre-purchase now. And again, coming to PC July 26. The PC version includes 5 armors of the Digital Deluxe Edition and the 20th Anniversary Armor Pack, with another 5 armors inspired by previous games in the series. So, yeah, there you go. Ratchet & Clank, another franchise of Sony's that's coming to PC. And I know Ratchet & Clank doesn't get quite the hype as some of Sony's other big games, but Rift Apart was really damn good. I mean, it was nominated for a Game of the Year. I mean, you can say that it was nominated because it was a weaker field that year, but It Takes Two won, and It Takes Two is a very good game, which would be nominated any year. But Ratchet & Clank was really it was a ton of fun, and it shows when you see game franchises that have been out there for so long, and sometimes even less than Ratchet & Clank, where it's just like, man, maybe just end this. Sony has done a really good job of managing Ratchet & Clank to where they don't just throw it out there, just carelessly, but also they keep it alive so it doesn't feel like a Twisted Metal or Sly Cooper. So I think that the way they have handled the Ratchet & Clank franchise, and maybe it just all comes down to Insomniac and Insomniac's brass and the developers there and the teams there within the company are just that damn good. I mean, they are that damn good, but just when it comes to managing Ratchet & Clank, they just know what they're doing. But great looking game, tons of fun, and I think I know Yield has played it. I don't know about Riley, but Riley's more likely to play this on the PlayStation anyway.
Right. Yeah. No, I have not. It's still sitting on my shelf. Actually, it came with my PlayStation 5. I just haven't cracked it open yet. But
so good.
The Ratchet and Clank series, just they always do so well, and they're always so much fun. And yeah, I'm glad that more people are going to get to play it. And I was flipping through Nixie's the other games that they've worked on and ported over. I mean, they've been at this for over 2 decades, porting games, and they're all ones that have done really well. The Legacy of Kain series, from Blood Omen, the Soul Reaver, a lot with the Crystal Dynamics. So they did Snowblind, the Tomb Raider Anniversary, Tomb Raider Underworld, that they worked on like the PlayStation 3, and those were fantastic jobs. So they've been at this for a while, because that was my question. I was like, well, what else have they done? And like all of these were really good. They did the Deus Ex series, Marvel's Avengers, which that's not their fault. that game, yeah. But they did the Horizon Zero Dawn PC port, and the Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales ports. So PC players are in for a good solid port. Nothing to be concerned about there. But yeah, it's it's on my short list to play. I think I want to try to put some more time into Fallen Order, and if I either finish Fallen Order or give up on it, I might start Ratchet and Clank next.
Yeah, no, I think you definitely would enjoy it, and the kind of the best compliment I can give to Ratchet and Clank, other than it's just a lot of fun and really well written and charming, but it's just dependable. Like that's the first word that comes to my mind when I think Ratchet and Clank, because they're all the games are just. I mean, okay, there's like Full Frontal Assault and other things. Like they're not all the best games in the world, but the mainline Ratchet games are always winners, and it's just dependable. Always comes to my mind when I think of them. So
right. Yeah, in fact, I was going to say when I started, I was like, yeah, there's just never a bad Ratchet and Clank. I was like, well, there was Full Frontal Assault, but generally, there's never a bad Ratchet and Clank game.
And even though All for One was different, it wasn't a bad game. It was still fun.
No, not at all.
It just wasn't as good as the main series games.
Agreed.
Right.
Yield, anything you want to comment on this? We know you like Ratchet and Clank. We know you had fun with Rift Apart, but
it's. I agree with what Riley was saying. It's good that more people who haven't had a chance to play it now gets the chance to play it. We've had our exclusivity for it for a while. It's okay. Other people can now play with it.
And the other thing is, I mean, we talked about this last week, Yield, when you weren't here, and I can't remember which game it was. It may have been Fair Games, which was Haven Studios' upcoming multiplayer game. But they announced that they're going to, I didn't mention this, they're launching it on PlayStation 5 and PC. So, like Herman Hulse said time ago, with live service games or multiplayer games, they need that swell of support from a bigger audience. So they're going to release those.
So is that the heist game or is that the phone game?
It's the heist game.
It's the heist game. Okay. So, well, either one, you're going to need the player support because neither one did it for me. But I do agree with that because you are going to need that support right away.
Yep. So, it's a
good call.
Yeah, that's their strategy, as Herman Hulse said, where they're going to release multiplayer games like that or live service games day and date on PC and PlayStation 5 or, whatever system going forward, because they just need that many players and they want to keep that ecosystem alive. And then you see the strategy for like the stuff like Ratchet and Clank or God of War, where you're going to have to wait a year or two before those games come to PC. So just, the way Sony's doing things now. Any more?
I'm just glad that this is a discussion that they can have now that they've loosened up so much on cross-platform play. Because, like 10 years ago, even, probably 5 years ago even, it was just like, oh, well, nobody, this is a great game, but nobody got it for the PlayStation or for the Xbox. So everybody, you're stuck. So it's really nice to, that's one where I can say with no sarcasm, thank you, Psyonix, because I know they were a big push at the forefront of bringing everyone to the table for that.
I mean, let's just kind of point this out that people buying PCs isn't necessarily bad for Sony, because now they can take advantage of that, the user base, not take advantage of, but like sell to that user base by having their games on PC. So if they're not going to buy a PlayStation, you would rather have people buy a PC because, I mean, Game Pass is, on both PC and Xbox, but right now with PC having access to a lot of different games and now Sony games, if you want to play Game Pass, you can play it on PC, so PC is the best place to play Game Pass. So Sony having people buy and spend money on PC and then still buy Sony games, that still helps Sony to a degree, and helps Sony because, one, they're selling games, but also, two, because those people aren't playing on an Xbox. So
right, absolutely.
So the PC is not a bad market for them to be in, and having Nixies do this, like this, we talked about The Last of Us Part 1, that port, and all the trouble it had, and how Sony games kind of had issues with their PC ports, because, Sony does have some teams that have experience with that, but, Sony, first and foremost, is not a PC development company. But hopefully they can get this one right, because that would go a long way into reassuring people that when you buy a Sony game on a PC day one, it's not a gamble. It's not a risk. Like, it can just be like a sure thing.
Right.
So they kind of need to not botch this one, especially for one of their more hallowed franchises.
For sure.
And, I don't know if this next game is going to turn into a franchise, but I kind of feel like the sequel should not exist. And lo and behold, who brought the news? It was Tricky Mick. We are getting a sequel to Hot Wheels Unleashed. This article comes from Destructoid and written by Zoe Hanley. The title reads, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged announced for October 19th. Mattel and Milestone have announced that they're getting the follow-up we've all been waiting for, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged. Better yet, we've got a trailer and a release date set for October 19th, 2023. That's really... Let me see here. I think that's all the news we really have. But if you watch the trailer, the cars are at first racing on the inside, and then all of a sudden they shoot out the window and they're racing on the outside. They're racing, outside the house in the yard, and then they'll go back inside the house. And I don't. Maybe there'll be something, they add to this game that makes it, a sequel worthy. But from my standpoint, the best thing to do for Hot Wheels Unleashed would be to, and it may not be as profitable because now they can sell you another game for $60-$70 and then sell you the DLC for that game. But for me, I've got Hot Wheels Unleashed. The game probably won't look a ton better. And if you're going to add new cars, you could just add new cars to the platform you already have. But no, they want to sell you an entirely new game. I don't know. To me, this seems like a game that, while it may be fun, doesn't necessarily need to exist. And I get it. A need to exist for video games is kind of a goofy thing to say, but can't we just add to Hot Wheels Unleashed? Do we have to have a full sequel? Yield, did you actually ever open Hot Wheels and play Hot Wheels?
No, not yet. Now that there's a sequel coming out, I'm like, I need to play this. Because I even bought some of the, I bought the Looney Tunes DLC because I'm like, ooh, I like those way those Looney Tune cars look. I didn't really see anything from the trailer, the CG trailer, that would make me go, yeah, I want to buy it. I mean, the only thing I did see was I saw I saw a Snoopy car where he's sitting on his doghouse and there's a huge old engine in front of it, like one of those rat rods. And I'm like, oh, that looks kind of cool. But other than that, it would just have to be one of those. I'd have to play the first one, see how much I liked it, and then be like, does it warrant? I mean, it probably won't warrant a day one pickup, but would it warrant a pickup down the road?
Well, I mean, they have motorbikes in there as well, which they really didn't have any of those. It was mostly cars and trucks and stuff in the first game. So I'm sure they'll have new cars. But again, you could just sell those to us as DLC and get them put into the originals Hot Wheels Unleashed. Because I'm sure there's going to be some crossover with cars they had in Hot Wheels Unleashed. And they're probably going to have... I've seen at least one of the cars that I recognize from the first game. So, I mean, again, they can sell us another game and then sell us DLC for that. But I really would just rather have... And man, we didn't even get all the Thundercats or the He-Man cars. There was a set of 5 He-Man cars. We didn't get Beastman or Man-at-Arms. We got He-Man and we got Skeletor. I mean, Skeletor is great, but we didn't get all the He-Man. God, I was annoyed about that. But Riley, your thoughts are... I don't know if you've ever played Hot Wheels or...
Yeah, I did. I bought it. I bought it on launch, I think, because I wanted something to play on the 5. And I mean, it's fine. Racing games are not really my forte, with the exception of Burnout, or Burnout Paradise, I should specify. But like, I liked it. It was fine. I'm just like, okay, I got in kind of over my head and kind of quit playing. But that's par for the course for me with racing games. But when I saw the this announcement. And I'm totally with you, Alex. I'm like, really? Why already? Why do we have a second one? Like, I mean, I personally barely scratched the surface of the first game, but I'm just like, yeah, why? I really don't think that it, especially with the Hot Wheels franchise, like, I don't see why they couldn't just do like they did with Overwatch. Be like, okay, now this is Hot Wheels Unleashed 2. And here's a shit ton more tracks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you already have the game downloaded. We're just going to update it to number 2, and here's a load more stuff and a bunch of new DLC that you can purchase. I really feel that's that was my initial was like, why? Why do we have... That's just, I don't understand. Of all the games, as much as, microtransactions annoy the shit out of me, like, This one, it would just make sense to just microtransaction it to, release an update, and then that would get me way more interested and get me to purchase more DLC than be like, oh yeah, here's this game that I put probably 20 hours into. The first one, yeah, I don't have any desire to purchase the second one. The first one's fine, but I've barely scratched the surface. Now, I guess the other thing that I would say is hopefully it's less loot boxy than the
Well, I
first
mean,
one.
I should say I do want to stop you there for clarification, because you couldn't actually use real world money to open the loot boxes. You had to use in-game money that you earned doing in-game stuff. Yeah.
Right. That is true. But again, I wish that there had been a different way to do that, especially for somebody like me who kind of sucks at racing games or that struggles.
Yeah, well, they did have a rotating store, I think, every day, but at the same time, you never knew if you were going to get anything new to buy. It was kind of random what showed up in there, so I mean, to me, the most fun part of Hot Wheels Unleashed was collecting the different cars, because we grew up with Hot Wheels, and like seeing all the cars in the mini form, like being able to race them in a video game was really cool for me. So collecting the cars was my favorite part, and really, if you're going to give us all the downloadable content, which we know they can do, and they did, like that still would be the most fun aspect of it, was just playing the same game but collecting the cars. But again, it comes down to, hey, it's why people have questioned for years why they don't release Rocket League 2, or they like people are like expecting that they want to sell us another game for another $60-$70, so it has to come at some point, right? So I mean, the Hot Wheels Unleashed, another game that you don't necessarily need a sequel to, because it's probably not going to be leaps and bounds, better looking or have any insane features that the first game didn't have. Oh, we can race outside now. I mean, that's kind of cool, but still, like, is it worth an entire another game? But yeah, as much as I love the first game, I just don't really see the point of this one. But again, the point is money. So we got a release date for WrestleQuest, which has become a favorite talking point here on Trophy Whores. Thanks for having Patrick Hickey on about a month or so ago, the voice of WrestleQuest, or the man behind so many of the voices on WrestleQuest. This tweet came from Megacat Studios. Prepare to unleash your power with the sweatiest JRPG in history. You have already sold me. WrestleQuest takes the RPG genre to a whole new level as you powerbomb your way through epic battles and an intense quest. Coming August 8th, 2023 at Skybound Games. Download the demo now. So there's a demo out for it that you can download and play. I assume maybe for PC. I don't know if that's also for PlayStation. Or, okay, so the link takes you to Steam. So the demo is on Steam, which would be PC. But yeah, August 8th for this. They did put out a new trailer with this, so with the announcement. So if you want to see the game in all its glory, get a good idea what it's about, because in one scene they have a wrestling ring on the back of a moving truck that's driving on the road, and it's not like it's like a comically oversized truck with a ring in the back of it. So go check it out. Maybe it's your flavor of game. But I mean, I don't know that I've ever played a JRPG. I've only seen other people play JRPGs, and this might be how I dip my toes in that water. Or, because it's wrestling themed, I may jump in head first in the deep end of the pool, not the shallow end. Don't want to do that, but Yield, sir, see, we've talked about this game over and over, Yield, and we definitely know that you're a wrestling fan, but JRPGs, like Riley said, that's usually Homer's area of expertise.
That is Homer's thing. I'm considering picking it up. But yeah, JRPGs aren't necessarily my thing, but it looks fun.
Well, let me ask you, is there anything about the game that, obviously the wrestling tie-ins is something you really like, but is there anything about the game besides, just it being labeled a JRPG that maybe you're kind of on the fence about, or is it just the fact that despite the package, I may still not like a JRPG?
It's the JRPG thing. It all depends on, how does the combat, flow and work. Because, I mean, I really haven't sunk my teeth into a JRPG since Chrono Trigger. So, it's been a few years.
But you did like Chrono Trigger, right?
Oh, I love Chrono Trigger. I think that's probably the... I stopped at the best JRPG probably ever, in my opinion. But yeah, until August.
Yeah. Well, it's again, like I'm like both of you that I like wrestling, or especially the golden era of wrestling, because Legion of Doom, DDP, Jake the Snake Roberts. Whew, that's a whole lot of goodness there. But I'm not always sold on the JRPG, or I'm not sold on that part. But I think regardless, I probably will just jump into this one because again, the theming is there, and I think with the context and just kind of, even if it's my favorite style of game, I think that within the right context, you can get me to bite. You can get me on board because I'm not a huge fan of first-person shooters, but if you put it in the context of a sci-fi action game, I'm probably there. At least I'm very, that's where my love of BioShock comes from. So, all right, well, that is going to bring us to the end of our topics, but we do have some questions this week from the community, and
time to check my social media.
Let's see here. Let me get to these questions. All right. So our community manager V, Veronica, thank you for doing the post as you always do. She said, "Podcast day at everyone. What questions do you have for our team today?" And Daryl said, "Who is your favorite YouTuber and why is it Resident Daryl?" I didn't even know Daryl was on YouTube. I guess with his him buying big batches of video games and reselling them or just doing the collecting thing, I should have guessed he was on YouTube. But sorry there, Daryl. Hopefully you don't listen to this episode and find out that we're unaware. Let's see. Do you guys watch YouTube? I mean, maybe the odd video here and there, but do you all have a favorite YouTuber?
No, I'm still the old cranky guy that if I'm going to watch somebody play video games, I'm going to go sit on their couch.
I mean, I guess for anything, it could be anything wrestling related. Because like Cultaholic, they some lads from over there across the pond, they do some good wrestling content and some funny commentary. So I do watch quite a few of their YouTube videos. But I'm trying to think video game wise of anyone. I used to be big into the Pokemon Go YouTubers, but I don't really watch any of them anymore. There's only so much of that you can take. And really, most of my YouTube time in the past couple of weeks has been spent just staring at the Transformers Rise of the Beast trailer over and over again. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I watch quite a few. Gamer Ranks is one that I've definitely watched. A few of their countdown videos. Tricky says Proven Gamer. Tricky, I don't watch that shit. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem right there. Tricky, I listened, I experienced the podcast. Yes, our YouTube has our podcast videos, but it's just so much easier to go to Spotify and download Spotify. Plus, I mean, the benefit of YouTube is having to... Shut up, Tricky. The benefit of YouTube in a podcast is so you can see the host, but I can't turn on my camera for fear that the freaking PC will freeze and it'll be a whole shebang. I don't want to deal with that, so...
And I have a face for podcasting, not vlogging.
I mean, so does Tricky, but Tricky has his camera on all the time. He's not ashamed of it.
That's probably why there's not a lot of plug the channel.
Tricky is demanding.
Says the guy who's horrible about connecting. I shouldn't say connecting. Driving up views from one thing to another, but we won't go there.
Yeah, he says plug the YouTube channel, damn it. So Proven Gamer on YouTube, where you can listen to our podcast, or I guess you can watch the podcast technically.
You can watch Tricky.
Yeah, you can watch Tricky and then have ourselves on the video. Our quadrants are just background of a game we've been playing recently. Back to the questions from the community. Let's see. Matt G says, glitches aside, when someone can't finish a tutorial because they don't pay attention to the basic mechanics the game gives you, should they just give up and return the game?
So, I'm sure you've heard this story before, Matt G, and Riley will know exactly where I'm going with this. In a way, yes. We have a mutual friend who will do that. Skip the tutorial, skip cutscenes, and then
we're talking about Tricky, right?
No. And then we'll look at one of us and go, what am I supposed to do? We're like, the game just told you what you were supposed to do. But you already know what to do. You just tell me what we're going to do. So I feel this pain all too well.
Yeah, if you... Well, Tricky says Matt's taking a shot at him, which there will be more shots at Tricky coming up here, but before we get to those, that cannon fodder.
Then don't cut skips, or don't skip tutorials and cutscenes, Tricky.
Yeah, if you're not... I mean, I understand that it can be annoying if a tutorial goes on for too long, but if you're not willing to do the tutorial, you're probably not interested in the game in general. Joe says, why does Tricky suck at Zelda, and why can't he appreciate good games? Joe also follows up with a question to me and Yield, and, Riley as well. Riley's implied. Yield and Alex, are there any games coming out this summer that you're truly excited for? I would ask Tricky, but he only plays the Division 2. He does play a lot of Division. Well, we just talked about one of them, WrestleQuest, which
WrestleQuest I'm excited for.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised Joe his head is not rocketed off his shoulders and gone into outer space, because he is more excited for WrestleQuest than anybody. So maybe that was just a rhetorical question to get us to plug WrestleQuest some more. But
I would say WrestleQuest. I'm still looking forward to Skull and Bones if it ever hits the shelves. One of these maybe days, Duke 'em forever.
You're more likely to get 10 more Assassin's Creeds before you get one Skull and Bones.
I know.
I don't know that we have a ton of release dates. I mean, we might, but
that's the thing. There hasn't necessarily been a ton of games that have been announced this year that you're like, oh, I'm circle my date. I'm looking forward to that. At least for me. That's for you, Tricky. No one's excited for that game. That game bombed at its showing. It bombed so bad at the State of Play, it's been delayed twice. So, you can still be excited for it. I'm glad you are. That actually turned me off of the game.
Just so everyone's on the same page, Tricky said Suicide Squad in the chat, and look, it could be good. It
could be.
Yeah, I'm trying to...
I didn't think you were contributing to the show, Tricky.
Well, I mean, Summer's already had one... Someone has already had one big release, Capcom with another W, with Street Fighter 6 getting rave reviews and getting a ton of play on Steam time, or a ton of playtime on Steam. So, I mean, there are definitely some fighting games coming out that make me question whether I have truly abandoned the fighting game genre. Street Fighter 6, also Mortal Kombat, but I also know that the way I play fighting games, I just button mash or rely on a few tricks or moves in order to get to the end of the arcade and then unlock everybody, and then I'm done. And I don't go online because I can't compete with people because I'm terrible or just a novice. So, but yeah, I mean, there are admittedly some fighting games this year that have made me, at least for a second, think twice about that. Maybe it's my year to get back into fighting games and to join the JRPG craze. But yeah, other than that, I mean, Alan Wake's later in the year. Don't know when Sword of the Sea is coming out. I didn't find a release date for that. Yeah, I don't know. I guess my big one for the summer is WrestleQuest, and maybe if I end up picking up Street Fighter 6. Yeah. Anything else for you guys?
Not off the top of my head.
Let's see. The last question in this thread comes from Homer. It's your turn to take a run at the attacking AT-ATs while defending the Echo base, while the rest of the Rebellion fleet makes their escape. Who of either you podcast mates or anyone in the TW community do you have in your squad for your attack run? How many do we want to limit this to? Because you could always just say the entire Trophy Horse community, because I want as many of these people as possible, but do we want to limit it to like 5 per squad, or does that sound fair to you all?
We can, sure.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll Yield who's going to be in your TW squad. trying to hold off the AT-ATs.
Trying to hold off the AT-ATs? So, I'm taking Riley, I'm taking Nitro, I'm taking Homer, and I'm taking Alex.
All right, pretty good squad there. Riley, you?
I would say, well, definitely. I saw the quote. I was like, well, of course, Homer's my first choice because he's the best pilot out of all of us.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, like no, hands down. So yeah, it would be see, Homer, Yield, Alex, Nitro, and you know what? Probably Rick, because Rick did a hell of a job today with Burnout, much better than Tricky. So.
Let's
Boom.
see. I'm gonna throw a curveball in there and say my first draft choice is gonna be Jeff Hanna, because just have Jeff Hanna sitting out there talking about video games and the workings of the video game industry, and he would mesmerize everybody. Just absolutely everybody on the other side would be like, I'm just gonna sit down and listen to this. I'm gonna stop attacking. So
The dulcet tones of
just
Jeff
the
Hanna.
Information coming at you. It's spectacular.
Right.
Let's see. Who else? Nitro, because Nitro's got a lot of heart. Dupes, because Dupes just murders video games. He's out there, just got the Platinum Trophy in Elden Ring and Horizon Forbidden West. You know, just so super quick that can't help but be impressed. Throw in Gareth, because Gareth he always does good work, but being a father, he obviously, being a parent's tough. Being a parent is a tough job, so Gareth has shown that he's not only an athlete, so he'd be super energetic out there doing some parkour while dodging the laser blast, but also, he can handle a job and kids, which multitasking, got to be able to do that. So let me see here. He maybe dual-wield guns, if he can do that. Who is going to be? I would be one, and then who else am I going to put from out? I want to name some people who haven't been named because I want to spread the love around to folks, and it's a very important decision in my last. You know what? I'm going to say Matt G. Because Matt G he's a Zelda fan, Zelda super fan. He knows how to handle some weapons, and he can probably take down an AT-AT with the sword. So just give him a sword and a shield, and he's good. He'll be deflecting shit all day and going on the attack all night. So I'll say me, Jeff, Gareth, Dupes, and our friend Matt G.
There you go.
V also.
Tricky hasn't been named. Yes, because we've played with Rocket League with you. We know better.
Yeah, you'd be on the other side of the Stormtrooper, Tricky, with that aim.
He would be shooting us and be like, what the hell?
So when Alex was asking me this question, and I knew that Tricky was going to get annoyed with this. So the only thing that I could think of when I thought of when this question came up was was his name Jenkins?
Leroy Jenkins?
Not Leroy Jenkins, but the guy from the first Death Star run.
Oh, Pork Jekin or Jack Porkins?
Yeah, him. That's the guy I thought of. He'll be there. He'll die. He's not making it back.
Well, he'll be the magnet that sucks up all the bullet shots.
Now, maybe if it was a ground game, since he plays a lot of Division, but we're going after AT-ATs, so yeah. Sorry, bud. You're dying.
No, Tricky plays devil's advocate. Tricky plays devil's advocate. He would be in the AT-AT attacking us. Let's be real about that.
Probably.
Veronica also had another question. She said, would you rather have a partner in which you can play video games with, or would you rather play video games for your alone time? She says, Matt and I do a little bit of both. However, we have such a different taste in games that we tend to play games separately. I do love watching him play certain games, and yes, I do backseat game, LOL. And, yeah, so we'll before we get any community thoughts on this, we'll get our thoughts. Yield, sir.
I don't really know. I think it's I like to play games on my own, except for the ones that that we do our co-op stuff with. I kind of like to game on my own. So as cool it would be to have a diehard gaming partner, then that means your gaming expense, so to speak, then goes up even higher because you'd have to have two consoles, two gaming budgets, especially if you don't like the same games. And man, that'd be expensive.
But if one of your consoles broke down, you would have a backup just in case.
Well, or you could just be like tricky and have like 8 consoles.
I mean, there's some games you could play with multiple controllers on one console.
That is true.
If you played games together. Now, if you played separately, you would have to have the two different consoles.
Then you're fighting. Well, if you only have one console, then you're fighting for TV time.
So what say you, Yield? You got an answer?
That was my answer.
Oh. Okay. Riley?
I mean, if my wife were into video games to the thing where we were actually like playing together and stuff, then I feel like that would be something that we would totally like work around the console issue. I personally, I don't know. I mean, there have been games that we've played back on the PlayStation 3. My wife used to whip my ass in Tekken on the PS2 all the time. But I mean, I don't know. I could kind of go either way with that. Like, it would be nice to have somebody, that always, I want to knock out some multiplayer. Hey, hon, let's jump on the systems and do something when it's hard to get other people, together. But man, it's nice to not have to fight for console time. You know what I'm saying? It's nice to not feel obligated to, oh man, I should ask my wife if she wants to play some multiplayer something if I just want to sit down and play a single player. Because for me, there would be a lot of anxiety of, oh man, are they feeling left out? Are they whatever? Because that's how my brain juice works. And I would just be like, I would be concerned that they're feeling left out all the time. Because I feel that way with my kids. I mean, by that token, there are times when I just want to sit down and play something, and then one of them will be like, Dad, do you want to play something together? And I'm like, no, I don't. I love you more than life itself, but I just want to be left alone to play. But then
Riley, do you just tell your kids to go play hide and seek and you just never go find them?
Yes. I actually used to do that with my dog. He would be like, oh, I want to go out. I'm like, all right, go on out. And then I would just leave him on the back porch. And he's like,
oh, see, when you do it to a dog, it's mean.
Yeah. But anyways, no, so I think that like 20 years ago, I would have been like, oh yeah, that would be awesome to have a spouse or a partner that would want to, that you could game together with and stuff. And I mean, it would be fun, but now that I have 4 kids and I've kind of experienced that, it's like, ooh, that would be a lot of stress and anxiety for me personally, because I would always feel like, oh, I'm doing something and leaving them out. I'm excluding them. And sometimes you just, like Yield said, sometimes you just want to sit down and play a game and be left alone, and that's your own thing and your own therapy. And so I think I'm happy with not as much as I applaud people that do, but I'm kind of glad that that's one less bout of anxiety that I have to deal with in my life.
It seems like you overthink things too much.
Oh, you just a touch.
Some from the community, some responses. Daryl says, if it's a friend, I think, is that Daryl? I need to go back to this. And pretty sure it's Daryl. If it's a friend, then nah, bro, I'm good. But if it's my wife, then yes, I would much rather she and I experience games together than alone. Veronica says, listen, Matt has friends that are more like significant others than me, LOL. There are times when our real life revolves around their gaming time, LOL. Dominic says, separate from me, would be great if I played with the wife. But she's into totally different games. I feel it gives us something extra to talk about at the end of the night. But everyone needs a good healer. For me, Ashley and I have played some of the games together. Like I said, we tried to play Overcooked, didn't work out too well. We did get the Platinum Trophy in It Takes Two, so we got through that together. But there were some frustrating moments there because platforming doesn't come to Ashley as naturally as it does to me. Although I've been training for this for years now with all the Crash Bandicoot games I've been playing. But so we do play some games together, but it even just like watching her experience and go through Tales from the Borderlands and The Wolf Among Us. I do like watching that. Having played those games and just seeing her kind of experience them as kind of story driven as they are. Like that to me is almost like playing together. It's not the same thing, but like it's not playing separately. So I mean, we do, make time for that. We're more likely to watch TV together though, because we usually always watch TV together. But we just have different tasting games. Like, she likes Dragon Age, and she's recently been playing Hogwarts Legacy, and those just aren't always games that I want to play. Well, in fact, I haven't played any of the Dragon Age games, and I haven't played any of Hogwarts Legacy. She also likes Elder Scrolls Online, whereas my tastes are much different. So there's not always an overlap in what we play, which can make it more difficult to play together. But she also does a lot of times comment that we need to find a new game to play together. So there is that as well. We do occasionally find stuff to play together. But I guess I would be fine playing co-op, but a lot of times I just kind of want to do the single player stuff, like the single player story different games. They're like the Horizon. So I like a mix of both, but I think I would want more time just kind of on my own, doing my own thing. Let's see. From the Discord, Haji says, I prefer to play on my own, but have a supportive partner that encouraged me to have my time. I've had partners before that think I wanted them to join in my hobby because they thought it would show they cared about what I considered fun/important, but really their enthusiasm was not evident or seemed forced. That's not what I want during my gaming time. I prefer to choose their activities as joint experiences. Troy, the business, says, I like a partner who I'm compatible with on a fundamental level. Video games are not important enough to be a factor in that equation. If they like games, cool. If they don't and have their own interest, also cool. Let's see. Yep, so those are all the responses from Discord. So, yeah, I think that taps out all the questions. Good questions from the community. We appreciate that, you all. And, yeah, without topic of the week, I guess that's going to bring us to our housekeeping, or really our shout-outs here. Riley, since you are our guest, our honored, beloved guest, we would like to have you go first. And, feel free to further step on Tricky as Matt and Joe have taken the time to do tonight.
Well, I'm a bit shout out light, but I do want to give, as much as I like to bust his balls, I do want to give Tricky a shout out for asking me to fill in this week. Yeah, it was nice. So it's nice to be thought of. I also want to thank Tricky for joining in on the Burnout Paradise, even though he didn't need the trophies.
What Tricky didn't
today,
tell you was that you were the 20th person he called that day. No, I don't know. I don't know.
On that bike trophy.
He probably called you first. He didn't tell me, but that sounds like a tricky thing to do.
He called several people while we were playing.
He opens up the Rolodex that he has on his desk with everyone's phone
yeah.
numbers and addresses.
So, yeah, shout out to the community. You guys are all great. I appreciate you having me on. You guys have built a fantastic community. Again, I think the only other shout out is, and I guess it's all right to probably say this, shout out to our buddy Chain Gun Pope, who got engaged recently. So super happy for him. And yeah, beyond that, I think that'll probably do it. I have no plugging. I have no other shout outs. Just happy to be here.
And happy to have you here, sir. Yield, your shout out, sir.
So, give a shout out to Alex for putting together the show notes for Record Night. Shout out to Tricky, even though he's not here. Shout out to Rick, Nitro, Tricky, and Riley for doing some of the Burnout Paradise Remastered boosting session. Let's see. Shout out to JT, Homer, and Nitro for the AC4 boosting that we did. We're getting close to being really done with that, so that's awesome. Shout out to Gareth for the rarity contest. Shout out to Veronica for doing the socials. Shout out to all the other Pimps and Madams of the Whoredom for downloading the show, hanging out with us, doing our boosting sessions, and just being the awesome guys and gals that you are. Oh, and a shout out to my wife. She hooked me up with some video games this garage sale season. She was able to get me Far Cry 6.
Nice.
AC Valhalla for the 5. What else did she pick me up? Crap. There's another one. Oh, she got me the original Assassin's Creed, so now I can start from the beginning, even though I know it has no trophies. But I will now get all the references to the first one. So she was able to pick that up for me. So, and then she was able to pick up a Lego collection, which we didn't have one of the games. So, pretty good haul so far this year.
And I'm going to give a shout out to the listeners, the fuel to the fire that is Trophy Horrors, our wonderful community. Thank you all for continuing to support us, because you all are the lifeblood to what we do, and without you all, this Proven Gamer, the show, none of it exists. So the community is really the driving force behind everything we do. Shout out to Tricky, or I guess a torpedo Tricky, since he'd rather be working than talking to us. It stings, Tricky. It really stings. A shout out to Yield, and especially a shout out to Riley for coming on and filling in the time. Thank you. I'm sorry. The disrespect, Riley. I was sitting here giving you a shout out, trying to give you a nice shout out, and Tricky is sitting here being like, I bought a PSVR too. Distracting me.
Wow. I rescind my shout out.
Tricky, you shoved that. You turn that sideways, and you know what The Rock tells you to do with that. But no, thank you for coming on, Riley, because obviously this is your free time, or this is your family time, and you chose to spend it with us, so we appreciate you for that. Not Tricky, though. He doesn't. He doesn't appreciate it.
That's right. Unless he sends me his PSVR 2. He could, then all would be forgiven.
You hear that, Tricky? There's your mea culpa. You can send him the PSVR 2. Last but not least, I want to thank my loving girlfriend, Ashley, who thinks that I hate her now because I said that I would most of the time rather play games alone because of the style of games that I play and the fact that we don't always have crossover games. But I still love you, honey. I don't hate you. I assure you of that. And even if you're not great at Overcooked, can't help me get the trophies. And I need to go somewhere else to get those. But, yeah, love you, honey. And, yeah, that is going to bring us to the end of this episode. I don't even know. Did I say the name of the episode or the number of the episode earlier? Yield, did I do that?
I can't remember, but
I
we
feel
are
like
at
I might have forgot the
574.
number. Yeah, thank you all for listening to episode 574 of Trophy Horse. Thank you for getting here all the way to the end. We will see you all on another episode. And until next week, happy Trophy Hunt.
See ya.
Peace out.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12 Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.